Start with the first question, which was about Dhusar, because I saw only the last part of Dhusar. And my question would be related to that. No big stars, no big locales, no songs, no big drama. How do you then make this content, something like Alzheimer's or dementia, interesting to watch? I think the question is to both of you because you write as well. Because I believe that there is no story that is bad. It's just how you tell that story.
To begin with, I think we have forgotten the basic purpose of storytelling. We have been made to believe that all the elements that you mentioned, that big stars, fantastic locations, item songs, fight sequences, these are the elements which are essential for the story. Just to take it further slightly, we have been today, particularly the young generation, you have been made to believe that the commercial success is the only yardstick. Therefore, you also keep talking about 100 crore club, 200 crore club. That is the only yardstick that you judge a creation. There are so many other aspects, so many other yardsticks. You don't even bother to look into that. This has been, this is how you have been brainwashed. If you still see today on OTT platform, which has opened up a new avenue, new window for all of you, all of us, all over the world, what is happening, how good content can still hold you, make you interested in a small story. You can see all that. And then if you compare that with what we are making or what we are trying to say, then you will not get into that trap. That is one way the mainstream cinema has been selling us the stories. Today we also get into the debate again of how now the South Indian content is becoming more commercially viable and why Bollywood is not able to. Again, we are only talking about the commercial success of the film. We are not talking about the content. We are not talking about how nicely, sensitively a story is being told. And I think that is one of the major problems that the regional cinema has to think about. Any regional cinema, instead of trying to compete on that only commercial yardsticks and commercial success of a film, if we stick to our own strengths, if we stick to our content, a good story, nice story coming from your own soil, will always be interesting and will always hold the interest of the audience if told well. Having said this, I think I'll ask Sandhya to talk about it, because Sandhya's contribution in this particular film, in all my last 8 films in fact, has been tremendous, and she can talk about this a little more.
A few elements that you mentioned about mainstream cinema, which is songs and dance, the folklore. We're not necessarily allergic to that, but it all depends on a particular theme of the film. Like, for instance, Dhusar, she expresses in poems and poetry, and she's a classical singer. So we have used that kind of music. Or in Paheli, I thought songs and dance are ethos of Rajasthani culture. So to get that cultural nuances, we use that. Or in Anahat, we used Dhrupad classical music, and that's the kind of sort of the core of the film. So what element we use in order to enhance the storytelling is something where our maturity as filmmaker, I think, comes through. But there are themes and there are films which we haven't used any songs or music or anything.
So yeah, that's a very interesting point, that you would only use something that is relevant to your script or your idea.
Absolutely.
You know, taking a clue from that, I have a question. In the recent past, and a question for both of you, in the recent past, I've seen some OTT film series which use really bad language, even when it is not required. I'm saying this because where it's required, I can understand. Now, are they doing that, the filthy language that is being used, is because it's a cool thing to do? Because it surely in many places is not required.
You know, very honestly, when it's not required is a very subjective thing.
Right,
I mean,
yes.
maybe we, because of our gray hair, probably age, whatever, you may not relate to the lingo of the youth. Having said that, of course, there is always an influence or attempt to influence the younger generation. So it is certainly a cool thing, or using cigarettes or something. I mean, if you want to smoke, smoke. You know, it's no big deal. There's nothing morally, whatever, involved in it. But being pretentious in anything is wrong. So if a theme requires vulgar language, so be it.
So be it,
I mean,
yeah.
In fact, I would prefer if somebody comes up with a very original vulgarity, then, you know...
that's a new one.
Yeah.
Original vulgarity, yes.
Using the same lingo, the same mainstream, whatever, depiction. In Oriya, for instance, I mean, I've heard hardcore fights on the street, and to me, it's excellent. I mean, really. Then, you know, being adoptive from some other culture. So that's what it's.
It's wonderful.